Greatest line for the show ever. We could have opened on Bobby's greatest line ever. Hey, everybody. I'm Pat. Bobby's dick is hard. How we doing?
I'm Bobby, and this is what gets my dick hard. That's going to be my new catchphrase for this show.
Well, I don't know if we want to say anything yet, but you've talked to me about doing a different show for you and I at a different time of day. If we called it that, that would be awesome.
Dick hard. Yeah, I like that. In the mornings.
Yes. Morning would you?
Didn't we do something like that?
We've done a lot of shit.
We've really.
There's been for only like 3 years of hanging out. There's been a lot of iterations and reiterations of this.
There are guys like Kareem who get in and just master one thing, but you and we're kind of like Vince Carter. Sometimes we dunk, sometimes we shoot threes, and occasionally we're the best thing to happen to Canada.
And then sometimes we just complain that we'd be better, but no one's really holding us down, and we're in the wrong state in our country. It's like, so it happens. So what's going on with you, my friend?
Oh, just another day in paradise in the life of Bobby. I'm trying to be an optimist these days. Had an interesting show Friday, 2 good shows Saturday, and a good show Sunday. How about you?
I first of all, I'm shocked that you're trying to be an optimist. That kind of throws off our whole thing. I think. It's like,
give it about. We've been live for 1:40. Give it about 19 more seconds.
Yeah, seeing that absolutely no one is watching us right now, there's your optimism, baby. It's like, oh, by the way, Matthew James was not happy that you did not reveal who the guy was who's the doorman at the club, who's also on AEW, because he's like, he wrote underneath in the comments, bro, 2 people are watching. One might even be him. Just it's like, we had more views afterwards, but I was like, that's fair.
It wasn't a privacy thing. It was more so I don't remember his stage name.
Oh, nice. Because Matthew was somebody, because he runs a wrestling promotion too, so he might know the guy because the local New England and tri-state.
I would say he probably does.
Yeah, nice. It was Hulk Hogan.
He goes by a little name, Undrer Talker. I don't know, something like that.
Oh, Undertak. I remember him.
I don't think he's that good though, because he never sells.
No, but he also had this Mexican manager named Barber, and Undertaker was the German guy. This joke's for one person. By the way, speaking of wrestling, have you heard about Vince McMahon?
Yeah.
Have you read the text?
Real bad men.
No, but have you read the text?
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't want to use my catchphrase here, but it feels like it's appropriate to say, gets my dick hard.
Oh, boy. The text should not. But for those who don't know, there's a woman named Janelle Grant, I believe. I don't have it in front of me, but Janelle Grant, I believe, is the name of the woman.
There's a fucking lying bitch named something. I'm Team Vince all the way, baby.
Worked for WWE, and supposedly, allegedly, for years they're using the term sex trafficked, and I'm not making light of anybody. I think terms have changed in what meanings are, because to traffic someone, I thought was like sending them off somewhere, doing whatever. She was being used as a fuck toy, but I guess that could be sex trafficked. But her total job would be in jeopardy if she wasn't just used willy-nilly by some of the employees of Vince McMahon. Vince would watch, see things, supposedly to lure Brock Lesnar back into WWE from UFC. They sent pictures of her provocatively saying you can do whatever you want to her when you come here and all this shit. There was awful stuff going on. She's one of the 4 women that was in the thing a couple of years ago from the Wall Street Journal when they said they found out that $14.6 million was paid in hush money to 4 women. So a couple of the million went to her. The weird thing is that people are saying that the NDA that she signed, so because of that, they're all saying, well, she's probably going to go to jail. I think there's certain times where you look past the NDA. You know what I mean?
I thought the NDA was just the new team of wrestlers that all passed her around like a sex toy that was joining. Who's the Rock's cousin?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns comes to the center of the ring and he's like, and I stand for everything that's right. And he's got his two friends behind him, right? And he's fighting the NDA. And then he kicks them both and he reveals, I've been in the NDA all along.
NDA, NWA stood for N-words with attitudes. NDA stands for N-words doing anal. That's who they are. But Vince McMahon, I guess, now there are some people that feel that this is a plant, this woman, which I think is a little much, because the TKO, the company that owns UFC, that bought the rights to WWE, that now is in charge, even though now Vince is completely out of it and gone. Paul Levesque, Triple H is running it. They kind of wanted him out of there anyway, so some people feel that this was a plant thing, but this is, if you followed wrestling ever, it's not a plant thing.
TKO sent a little ATM to fuck up WWE.
Now,
ATM stands for ass to mouth, Pat.
Oh, I know. I had a good buddy who had a great joke that used to tell that said, I hate when things are redundant. Like, when someone says ATM machine, it's like, why would they say ass to mouth machine? It's like, one of the texts says, maybe he wants two other guys to join you with him. Holy shit. You've told him you would do anything with him. So if he surprised you, by the way, Vince uses the letter U, capitalized for you. He, as a billionaire genius, writes like a 2-year-old.
Not my favorite grammatical error found throughout these texts.
No, there's a couple more. Now, I don't know what text you saw.
When we come to it.
Well, some of the texts some of the texts that were put out, somebody tried to censor them by using emojis, and it actually made it worse. If you don't want to say the word "cum," I get it, but to put wet drops over it makes it worse.
There's just a poo emoji, a hair emoji, a poo emoji, a hair emoji, then wet drops.
Well, poo is not in. You kind of did a spoiler there. Poo's not in this one I'm reading.
Oh, my bad.
This is just one of them. That's okay.
Spoiler alert.
Let's get right to it.
Go back 30 seconds and skip ahead 4 seconds. Anyway, go ahead. No. Read the text,
right.
please.
A lot of real quick. Out of all the allegations, there was tons. There was a lot using toys on her with force. Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis, the guy who is the married, the Bella twins who were in wrestling, married their mom.
To marry twins.
He married their mom.
Oh God.
So he's also, that makes him the father-in-law to Daniel Bryan, who is now Bryan Danielson in AEW. There's a lot of wrestling tie-in to people's and this guy was Vince's right-hand man. He talked like this all the time, and he was always known to talk to Vince about how strong his arms were. He was a very ass-kissy guy. He did whatever Vince wanted. So Vince liked it to, I guess, throw this woman John's way and let him fuck the shit out of her. Whatever he wanted to.
Daniel Bryan's new name?
Bryan Danielson. That's his real name.
Do you think he's in AEW going, yes, because he got out of there before the poo allegations?
What's funny is it would be funny if he was allowed to. Vince McMahon does not allow him to do yes. Yes is a WWE thing, trademark.
Yeah.
So the crowd just does it. Now the crowd can do it. He can go like this, but he can't yell it. So the audience just yells it. He changed his character because his real name was Bryan Danielson. That was what about Vince's genius? Vince would take a guy like Bryan Danielson and goes, that name's garbage. I can't own that. You're Daniel Bryan.
You're built like a rock. We're going to call you Rock.
There was a wrestler, I'm even forget. Pete Dunne is his name. He's from England, and he's a very good wrestler. And he was into WWE, NXT and that stuff. But when they called him up to WWE, they're like, "You can't be Pete Dunne. That's not believable. You're Butch." And he was just Butch, no last name. Just 2 weeks ago. Now Triple H is in charge. He's like, "Oh, by the way, you're Pete Dunne again." That's dumb.
Oh, thank God.
Triple H has done a lot of that, letting people be humans again and stuff. But anyway,
I would say that's probably the most humiliating thing ever done to an employee of the WWE is naming them Butch.
Yes,
by far.
So Vince and John Laurinaitis, I guess, in one report, forced this woman against her will to they took turns. One would hold her down and the other one fuck her, and then back and forth. So you got John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon pumping at you and stuff like that, using toys on her. Horrific, awful fucking things. being told she would lose her job, that they would blackmail her, she would never get anything. Awful, awful shit going on. But one of the things with the threesome is at one point Vince took a shit on her head, but then didn't even let her clean off the shit and made her just have it on her while they continued to film and do things. Vince would take the videos of these things, even when she kind of, I guess there were times where she would, like, the very beginning, perform sexual favors and was kind of consensual, I guess, enough where it was like, okay, whatever, I'm doing this. But then he would take video and then show it to all the crew that worked there and be like, look at this bitch, look what happened. So then now everyone knew about it. So she was like, what the fuck is this?
Him I'm going to let them all fuck ya.
Yeah.
We made Bill Schultz read them on the dump, all the texts.
Yeah, they're great. But no, I'm hoping that people that are watching this weren't watching the dump so I could tell them all these things. But
no. That's why I'm saying if it just seems like I'm pulling weird quotes out of the air, it's quotes I remember from Schultz reading it on the dump.
Oh, no, I totally understandable. But also, knowing you, that's just something you would also pull out of the air. And hello, Scott. How are you, sir? By the way, I thought of what I think is an excellent idea. Maybe you can hint that if he knows someone who can be discreet, it might be better if you and Johnny try him out first so he can be more comfortable before he's introduced to me. Actually, that makes total sense, doesn't it? But is he going to fuck a guy? Like in that one, I'm like, is he going to bang a guy, Vince McMahon? Now, and I'm not... This part's going to seem wrong, I think wrong to say. But have you seen pictures of her?
No.
Okay, if you look up on your phone, I'm not going to post pictures of her, I'm not going to leave that. But if you look up Janelle Grant, or just put the Vince McMahon text, a picture will come up with images. Very pretty. But, and this isn't, I don't know how to say this without sounding like a monster. Doesn't look like somebody you would do this to. You know what I mean? I know, it's like, no one, first of all, you shouldn't do this to anyone, and I'm making that very clear. But
wait.
Carmen Electra was built to only have sex with people, and that was it. You know, since she was a teenager, Carmen Electra is just a walking vagina. This lady doesn't look like sex.
Which part are you not supposed to do?
Anything wrong to this lady? She seems like a nice lady who works at the job.
But what if she's into it?
No. I'm saying that when you see the picture, it makes it even worse because she looks like this pretty girl next door, not this hoe. I don't know why it shouldn't matter what they look like, but a hoe, you're kind of like, oh, you know, that kind of stupid mentality. So, you know, that, especially WWE, like some of the women that were, like, one of the wrestlers years ago who ended up killing herself, Ashley Navarro, the rumors were when she was there, she had won the Diva Search, all that. When they went over to the troops thing, they would do it once a year, tribute to the troops. Supposedly a couple of troops grabbed her behind in the tent and raped her. And when she came to the WWE, Vince and them, and said, hey, this happened, whatever, they're like, shut your mouth, that's the troops. We don't say shit. Fuck you. You're fired, and we'll blacklist you if you ever say anything. Years later, she killed herself. Now, other people have said that isn't true. That's a made-up story. She left for other reasons. But when you hear all these other things, you're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, that's wild. So, it's like, but there, where's the one you like? No, I think that's the same one.
I want 3 big black cocks.
Yeah, I can't find
one
one
in
with
each
10.
of your holes, and then
I
jerk
love
off
it.
on
You
you
go.
when I'm done.
I love it. That's you, Janet. You just can't get enough, can you? In the future, it's going to be so bad that you'll demand to be fucked twice a day, and not just in a 3-way. Why not let others see the beautiful, voluptuous body and watch you shake uncontrollably when you come? Then you'll go out of their minds. Then I'll find more friends and we'll tie you up so you're helpless. I'll direct him. He's sending this on his phone. Like it's a phone. The guy's been in trouble. He had sexual harassment charges a year earlier. The board of directors tried to make him leave. He came back. The man has fought the government. You know what I mean? Like, the guy's investigating a bunch. He's like, oh, this is fine. I'll just text.
It's all consensual, brother man.
It's okay. I use Cricket Wireless. They'll never check. It's like, they'll go out of their minds. Then I'll find more friends and we'll tie you up with your help and you're helpless. I'll direct them to have their way with any way they want. Who can make you scream the loudest? It said scream, but we don't even. Maybe I'll just line them up and have them squirt in your mouth, your pussy, and all over your. Now,
how does he spell it?
They put the emoji over it. They put a cat emoji over that, so I can't really see the words. But then it says your blank and your and a peach is for ass. I think it's a melon, so I'm guessing the word's tits because it's small. So I'm saying your tits and your ass all at the same time. You'll be covered in cum, and we'll make you eat it all and taste everybody's cum. Like it sounds like Indian men when they write compliments underneath the picture. The bobs and vagine will be fire.
Yeah, we're gonna have so many people do you. It's gonna be renamed the Montreal Screwjob. And if you say no, Ashley, we're gonna lower you from the rafters.
It's different now. We got a game show host. It's the Monty Hall screw job. You're gonna sleep with the old dead game show host, Monty Hall.
Hey, Johnny, I think this bitch is getting a little lippy. Let's give her a Bowflex machine.
He ends it lovely. He goes, the next morning you'll be a little sore, but you're still gonna want more. He rhymed. He is now. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and this past weekend was the Royal Rumble. No, I am not. It's the Royal Rumble happened, and it was one of those things where it's like it's a dark cloud over this huge day where all these people are coming out. And I don't know if you know this, what they've been doing in wrestling, AEW started doing, and WWE followed suit. They have press conferences now. And I know it's scripted and all that, but they do let real wrestling reporters ask real questions. So after the Royal Rumble, where they had two winners, Cody Rhodes is a big star, and Bayley, and then Triple H was going to be talking, they were going to ask questions. Now, they didn't ask the female Bayley any questions about this at all. But when they did ask Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes is usually pretty good at that. They were all kind of told not to bring it up or say anything.
He's a scholar.
He's a scholar?
Rhodes
Scholar. Okay, boom, okay.
I
was trying to think of all the characters he's played back in the day, and I'm like, well, that wasn't one. But it was like I couldn't remember.
Surface level.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with surface level. You got to hit a couple singles for your score. You know what I mean?
So absolutely. And don't worry, I got a big conspiracy to tie this all together.
And I'm waiting for that. So when they got to Cody and they asked, with all this happening, what do you think? And he's just saying, he said all the right things. He's like, because he used to run a company, and he's like, we all learned the same time as you guys learned. It's like it was broke by reports and this and that, whatever. He's like, the great thing is right now that we have this awesome company right now, and the locker room is all very tight. We're all such friends. It's all younger people, not really any bad shit veterans. Go ahead.
We're tighter than Ashley's pussy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Janet.
With three
Janet.
big. We're tighter than Janet's pussy with 3 big black dicks in it.
Which, by the way, is our next 3 dicks on a pole match. It's going to be amazing.
It makes my dick hard.
Go ahead, Pat.
Dick Hard is definitely a wrestler's name. Like in the Attitude Era, Stone Cold versus Dick Hard.
Soft Tennis versus Stone Cold.
Fred Taint. It's like, what? That's the worst name. That's me, Fred Taint.
It's Needle Dick Nelson and Fred Taint, a tag team match between Dick Hard and Erectile Dysfunction.
Their tag team name is the Undercarriages. Was this doing a show while watching a show? Nice, Scott. Oh, nice. Is Scott on a show right now? Yeah. Thanks. That's awesome, dude. Way to focus. What are you guys talking? Hi, Stormy, by the way. What are you guys talking about your show? You guys talking about rock hard cocks inside Janet?
So it's anyway, me, Needle Dick Nelson. Wow.
Cody says, hey, we're a good group back here, so I feel like that we've built up something so good that anyone feels like they can't say anything now and no one will be in a situation. Good answer to say whatever. Triple H comes out and wants to talk about the Royal Rumble, the great matches, the big house crowd they drew, all that stuff. And then 1 or 2 real questions come in, and then all of a sudden the guy's like, with all this going on, you can speculate anything. He's like, listen, and I know what he meant. Okay, as a guy who runs this, he wants to let the lawyers deal with it, the higher ups. He's just trying to run the wrestling. But the way he started was, listen, we had a great week, and everyone's been on top of that like crazy. But he meant because of the Netflix deal and because of the Royal Rumble. So he kind of said that afterwards, but people just took that one quote and they're like, what the fuck? We had a great week. My father-in-law's text came out that that's his father-in-law.
He
His
knew.
What?
He knew.
I think they all knew. Obviously, they're a small business and company. They all knew shit was going down, but Triple H is the kind of guy, and so is Stephanie. When Vince was first asked to step down, and then they thought he was gone, but then when they wanted to start trying to, think about selling, Vince owned a lot of stock still. So Vince threw a fit and said, if I'm not put back on the board, I will not allow a sale, and you must make me come back. And then when he came back and said he wasn't going to get involved in any creative, he's just going to be on the board. The second he came back, he said, screw that, and he was there the next day, and he was getting involved. And Stephanie stepped down. So right there, people were like, whoa. I mean, even though like she knows her dad's an asshole, for her to step down when he shows up,
There's smoke.
something's up.
Yeah.
And Triple H always was somebody to say Vince is brilliant, Vince is that, Vince created this. When he came back that time, he stopped saying that. And he just talked about the product and the history and everything like that. And he was doing all the things the fan wanted to see, and he was changing the way the thing was booked and making it so you almost try to forget him. And then this all comes up again and everything. So I get why he was saying, like, let's just move forward, but like, what the fuck? And so now that is all out there, it's every day. Like, this is going to be a court case because Vince has the money to have the best lawyers in the world, but he's not going to have the backing of WWE's lawyers because now WWE's owned by TKO, and Dana White and his folks aren't going to be. And I don't know if you know this too, the day before all this came out, TKO named a new board members to be with them to help out, and one of the ones that's going to help with the day-to-day, the communication between WWE and them is Dwayne Johnson. So The Rock is on this board, and then the next day this comes out, and he's like, hey. He was supposed to show up at the Royal Rumble. There was rumors. All of a sudden, he didn't show up. Brock Lesnar was not involved. He was supposed to be involved. They pulled him from everything because he's saying that he had nothing to do with it, but they're like, bro, they offered you a lady, and then all of a sudden you came back.
Okay.
We'll see what's
but
going
what's he
on.
supposed
with
to
you.
say? No?
What?
You are a loyal Comics Mohegan Sun performer. Let's say a Parks Casino goes, Pat, we want you to work here. And then one of the waitresses is like, oh, my God, you're so hot. You can do whatever to me. You're not going to take advantage of that situation?
Well, no. First of all, I think there's a huge difference. I need comedy gigs.
He's a dick
Brock
size.
Lesnar. Yeah, that too. Brock Lesnar was the UFC as a champion, and he had millions of dollars. He didn't need to go back. I mean, they're throwing him more money than anything, but he became the bigger star when he came back after because they built him up higher and let him do all those records and everything like that. Way after that, it's not gay stuff, Stormy. We're talking about the WWE and Vince McMahon. We're talking about court cases. How dare you? It was not gay. They were banging a lady the whole time. They just talked gay.
That may have been in response to when you asked what Scott was talking about, though. So who knows?
Oh, it could be that too. Because shit is not gay. Everyone shits.
And that brings me back to how Triple H definitely knew. If a woman walked around WWE headquarters with shit in her hair,
Well,
the
and I hate to
question's
be
gonna come up. Hey, how did you get the shit in your hair? And she's not gonna say yes. She's not gonna
Right.
tell you the truth. You're right. But at that point, you're gonna be like, we gotta follow this bitch's day. Did she come in with shit in her hair? And you're gonna be
Right.
like, she spent a bunch of time with Vince and two other well-hung gentlemen.
now, and I hate to be wrestling nerd, and we're enjoying the jokes, but like the timeline for that doesn't make sense with Triple H. Triple H was working for Vince, but in her timeline when this happened, like right. By the way, a lot of this happened during COVID, which is even more. I don't know why that makes it more fucked up, but like since you couldn't even like reach out and do a thing, they're all trapped together. This is happening. There was no traveling. That's why they were there more. You know what I mean? And they're at one area.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
This woman worked at the headquarters, and Triple H travels with the performers. So he's not there in office like they are. So, and I also don't think they said that he shit on her head, then she had to go back to work. I'm assuming this happened at night. I don't think it was like lunch.
Well, all right. I know you're the wrestling fan of the two of us. However, I do have some people within the community that follow like more of the conspiracy stuff around it, less like the stuff. But Thomas, my buddy Thomas, is one of them. You've met Thomas. And they actually put me onto a conspiracy theory that might explain why she had to go about the rest of her day with poo in her hair.
She didn't go around the rest of her day with poo in her hair. But anyway, go ahead. She went the rest of... They read it wrong. I know you're going to do conspiracy. I'm going to let it go in a second. But to make it clear for the statement that's there in the thing, she went through the rest of the threesome with poo in her hair, not her day. She didn't leave. They forced her to continue to have sex with poo in her hair. They didn't let her wash off the hair, even though they had it in a shower.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Damn it. Were
But
you one of the three?
Let's what?
Were you one of the three?
No, I read the thing.
Okay, so you can't say for certain that she rinsed her hair out and that Vince didn't make her go about the rest of her day all shithead.
That was the last straw, and I guess she was done after that. And that's when she went back and started reporting and like quit. The last straw was shit.
Usually is. It really usually is. Scott's gonna watch our replay.
Oh no, Scott got in trouble. Now we lost our viewers. Thanks, Stormy.
No, now we get them twice. We get one in the live and one in the replay. But
It works that way, right?
I don't know how YouTube works. But
one in the Scott and two in the bot, whatever the fuck it is.
so like you said, most of this did take place during what era?
Oh, this is the COVID.
2021, right?
Not 2018 to 2021.
And the last straw was the poo. So that would have been 2021. Now,
Yeah,
at
around
that
there.
time, as you pointed out, the world was locked down, and there was a wrestling commentator who lived very close to the main headquarters, who could drive there on short notice, and got to spend a lot more time with Vince McMahon than normal. And that wrestling commentator, I'm sure you can guess, Pat, because you're a fan, but for the people who aren't, is known fecophile Sam Roberts.
Well, he's not a wrestling commentator, but okay, I know what you're saying.
I mean, he does get to do like the pre-show and things like that. Like he does get to.
Yeah,
do
but he doesn't commentate
commentary.
on matches. He just does
No,
the
no, no.
pre-show, and he does like he's like pregame guy. He's like what Terry
Yeah.
Bradshaw is to NFL people. They don't know that
Exactly.
You know, he's on, and once in a while. Usually it's Paul Rosenberg. Once in a while it's Sam.
And if you don't know the wrestling metaphor or the NFL metaphor, then go watch Whitney Cummings' podcast, because this is where bros hang. And Stormy. But do you know, are you familiar with the story Big Boy Made a Duty, Pat?
Big Boy Made a Duty? Mm-hmm. No, is that a rap group?
No, it's a story from Opie and Anthony, where
No,
Jim
I'm not
Norton
familiar with this at all.
took a dump in the toilet. Norton's known for nasty shits, and it was a particularly nasty shit. At which point he made a hat, and Sam Roberts convinced his intern to put the duty in a hat, put it on his head, and go, "Oh boy, Big Boy made a duty." And then he had to go about the rest of his day with poo in his hair. So I think old Sammy Shitfarts and Vince McMahon are kicking it back one day, and Vince is telling him all these wild stories, and Sam goes, "Oh yeah, you want to know the craziest thing I ever saw? It was this." And then Vince attempted to try it out on the poor woman, and it led to his downfall.
Now,
That is on all the wrestling boards right now. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not. I enjoy the conspiracy. It has a lot of strength to it with a lot of the things you said. But there is one strong key factor in how you phrased it. That Sam Roberts was having a conversation with Vince McMahon. Because even Sam jokes about it, but it's been clear with all those things. Vince McMahon might not even know who Sam Roberts is. Now, a lot of the other people do, but he doesn't let that little nerd go near him at all. There is no conversation with them. He talks to like the head of talent relations and Michael Cole because they're the reporters, and Triple H even and all that. But Vince McMahon would never. So what could happen? I'll help you with this conspiracy.
The staff.
No, that Sam Roberts was chatting with Michael Cole. And they were joking and stuff.
yeah.
And then Cole was talking to Vince, and Vince's like, "We need a new hot idea. We have to do something crazy." And Cole goes, "Too bad it's not, the Attitude
Big
Era.
Boy made it-
We could have done this
yeah.
crazy thing Sam Roberts used to do where they pooped in a lady's hair. Like, we could get Mae Young, and we could get Fabulous Moolah if they were still alive, and they could have them poop on Mark Henry or something." And he's like, "Wait a minute. Why would I waste that in wrestling when I could just rape?"
I mean, it's not rape if she's down.
She wasn't down. They've threatened her job and blackmailed the shit out of her. She was not down. And
That's
that's
a
what
fair
your
point.
thing about Sam Roberts, when you said Sam Roberts was an intern when that happened, correct?
No, he did it to his intern.
Oh, because I was going to say, if Sam Roberts was an intern, that would make him even worse because at least she got paid.
No, it didn't happen to Sam. He did it to somebody. But I like your story. I'm going to yes and it. You know how Vince was showing the picture to the staff?
Yeah.
Being like, I'm going to let them all. I think he showed that
All
picture.
10 of them.
One of them was like, you think that's crazy? That's the second craziest story I heard today. And Vince was like, oh, yeah? Well, what was the best? And then they got Sam. They told same idea, just a little simpler. Because Michael Cole would be like, what happened to that shit on the head story, Vince?
And if anyone is watching this and saying, first of all, A, this is gross. B, I know it's a top. We don't do topical lately, so at least we're doing topical. And B, so they thank us for that. We're talking about something from 86 years ago, so whatever. We got topical. Second of all, if you're like, oh, that would never be a story in WWE storyline. One of the best storylines of all times is when Kane, the evil brother who was of the Undertaker, supposedly, who was burnt on a fire, and it was fostered like that, and found out years later the Undertaker was wrestling, I guess, somehow, and it's like, I'm going to fight him. Kane's story evolved a long time, but he was always about being burnt and being a monster, this and that. Kane attacked and then supposedly forced himself against her will to Lita in a storyline where he had raped her and she got pregnant. Now, you know the rules of wrestling. If you rape a woman and she gets pregnant, you have to get married. So in storyline, they had to get married. And now she's pregnant and now has to live with Kane and be ready to raise a child. She has no say against it, which tells you a lot about Vince right there. When in storyline, he's like, yeah, you just force her against her will. What's the big fucking deal? She has no say. She's a woman. So then there was this guy. Then all of a sudden, Kane starts to like get a heart a little bit, and I think they realized in real life, holy crap, we're doing a rape storyline.
Yeah.
So they started to make Kane like loving a little bit, and then there was this other guy, Gene Snitsky, and he was a wrestler that was just crazy guy, and he hated Kane. So one time,
Okay, wait a second. Those two sentences are contradictory. He hated the rapist who forced the woman to marry him. He might be not crazy. He might just be the hero.
He was taunting them the whole time, and then they had the child, right? And then he found the child in the back in a stroller, brought it out to the ring. It was obviously a fake baby, but he punted it. You can Google it. Live show. Everyone thought the crowd goes, "Holy shit!" as he punts the baby.
Punt that baby.
And then they said that the baby almost died. And then they did have a miscarriage. Somehow the baby did die, or there wasn't a miscarriage. It was like a fake baby, whatever it was. Somehow that happened. And then his catchphrase became, "It's not my fault." He kicked the baby into the thing. Oh, it was an insane storyline for a while.
Speaking of Kane's girlfriends, didn't Triple H do
the dead one?
To the dead one?
Yeah. Triple H made love to the dead one's body.
That's the president of your company. Good fucking luck.
No, not the president. The director of talent relations. Chief executive officer. Sorry.
Even if she dies, we can still use the body. Trust me, I got a storyline I can dust off.
And here's the best part. They just signed a monstrous deal. So starting next year, Monday Night Raw will be on Netflix. No more commercials. So now you don't have there's no paywall. There's no more worried about. They can go back. They can do whatever they fucking want now. Like now you're talking about they can play Vince tapes. They can play a tape of that lady.
I so thought when you said they signed a monstrous deal, you were going to say they signed a monster. And I was like, oh, that's what they need right now. Somebody with a bad record.
Oh, they've had several men that were prisoners. Like the guy Nails, if you ever look him up, Nails got mad because he thought he wasn't getting the right split of money, and he went into the office, and he was a convict, and he got out, and he beat the shit out of Vince. Because he said Vince wanted to make love to him, and he's like, no. Everyone's like, Vince isn't gay, but then you read these things like maybe Vince wanted to bang this
Vince
guy.
tried to bang him. That's fucking crazy.
Oh, there's so many. If you look back at all the stories, and not even that, like, just the way he treats women, like even his own daughter. Like there's all the story with Trish Stratus where he would make her, bark like a dog, and he would bang her in front of his paralyzed in a coma wife. Linda, they're still married. Linda's had to. Who's got a better resolve? Who is more loyal? Okay, Linda McMahon, or what's her name, Cosby. Bill Cosby's wife.
Ooh.
I mean, Bill Cosby's wife sat there with all those allegations. It was just like, whatever, stand by your man.
I think she
Linda's
was
not
in
saying
on it.
anything, but Linda should be like upward. Linda tried to run for president at one point. Not president, but
I
tried to
remember
be
that.
in Congress and shit.
Yeah. I'm going to say the Cosby's got more resilience. Because Linda...
All right, well, you know what? We should do. It's my bad. We should have done 3 to make it easier. I'm sorry. So we do Mrs. Cosby. I'm forgetting her first name. Cosby's wife, Vince McMahon's wife, or Nicole Brown Simpson. Who stood more by their man? Because Nicole never said anything.
No, she didn't. And to this day, as a result, OJ still is paying financially her. So there's that.
Well, not her.
Her family.
Yes, she
Her state.
And that other guy, who I always by mistake called Jeff Gillooly, who is not his name. Jeff Gillooly's the guy from the Tanya Harding case, but I always confuse the name of the guy who made love to Nicole Brown Simpson with the guy who helped in Crowbar.
Yeah.
Wait, he was a karate master? Mm-hmm. Who was a karate? Nicole Brown Simpson's guy was a karate master? And he couldn't stop arthritic O.J. Simpson?
Turns out it was Bull-sheedu.
Oh, that got me real good. Oh, man, you sold that one wonderfully. Oh, that's the best. I can feel every camera coming off, every phone turning up. Fuck you. I don't care. We just did 40 minutes of just poop, terrible talk just to get to bullshit.
No, like he was really like a karate expert.
No, but that's not the name of what he did.
No. I mean, yeah. I'm just saying, he thought he was a black belt, and he squared up to OJ and then learned that's the worst time to learn you're not a black belt.
Bull-sheedu with a minor in Taekwondo nut. It's like, this guy is killing it.
Whatever it was, it did not teach machete defense.
Oh, let's get off that thing. You want to real quick before we'll get to your thing? I've got one more thing I want to share. Okay. Are you familiar with any court cases that are going on right now? In like in the news?
Yes,
Okay.
several.
Which one are you familiar with?
The two I'm focusing on are both run by the same DA in Georgia, and that would be the Trump and the Young Thug.
Okay,
And
Young
the
Thug,
reason
I'm paying
why
attention to a
I
little
care
bit.
about them both is because Trump's digging up dirt on this DA, Pat,
Yeah.
and it might end up getting Young Thug free.
Young Thugs, I've been watching that case a bunch, and not as much as the other ones, but that one, he's going to need that because everything else is not going in his favor. One of the cases I've been watching a lot of is the one about the kid, Ethan Cromley, who shot those kids at that school, Oxford in Michigan. The kid who was a school shooter went to jail as a 16-year-old. The state is now trying, this is the first time ever this has happened, they are now trying to charge the parents for being responsible as well and put them both in jail, and they're being tried separately. And if this does work, and this starts a new precedent of parents being responsible for anything a child does, and so you could get arrested if your kid does something. And that's like, how far do we go with that going into the prison systems and all these things that we're going? How far is getting your just due? I'm not saying people should have been arrested, but the kid who did the crime is in jail forever. Like, he is arrested and done. Yes, the parents got the guns, whatever. But I'm not bringing that up to get into any. I don't want to get any like back and forth political talk. The person representing Mrs. Cromley, who's now on trial first, a female lawyer, Shannon Smith, I believe her name is. If you're familiar with her name, she owns her own business. She owns her own law firm, and she's a younger, pretty woman in Michigan. But when you look her up, she's also done another high-profile case. Guess who else she represented?
Jesse Smollett.
No, think about Michigan.
The 5 that tried to kill the governor.
No. This is more in your wheelhouse. You've brought up this person before. Think Michigan.
Oh, that Larry Nassar's attorney.
Yes.
Yeah.
This woman who she's defending the mother of a school shooter, and before that is defending Larry Nassar, the guy who molested all those female gymnasts.
Okay, so you're not allowed to touch kids. You're not allowed to shoot kids. What am I allowed to do to kids in this state?
No, but if you read, I gotta find it. Her site where she talks about like what she's fired up about helping people no matter what. Oh, it basically her whole mission statement is like, "Fuck me too." Like it's like, listen, we're gonna believe everybody. like she's willing to battle anyone, and she got.
I represented a doctor who said he was treating girls by fingering them. We should not believe everybody. I mean, wait, no, he was innocent. My bad. Fighting myself on my own website.
She got in trouble because during this case happening now. No, that's not what I wanted. Not Shannon Smith. Where is it? Shannon Smith Law. She got in trouble because she had to apologize yesterday in court, which you don't usually see a lawyer having to apologize when the person she's representing is the mother of a school shooter. But she said a couple of crazy things. Because it started with apology. Let me find the thing here. But she said she did quote Taylor Swift in one thing, which I think is funny too.
My client's mother is not the reason for the teardrops on those parents' guitars, okay? It's her son's fault.
It's better than that, but okay, Your Honor, on Friday, I think it was very clear beyond reasonable doubt that I had difficulty and cannot use technology. Smith said, in my frustration, I made a comment that was offensive to victims' families, and I did it with absolutely by accident, and I was struggling with my computer. I am apologizing for that, she said. I want to apologize to the jurors, to the audience, to all involved, and specifically to the victims and the families of the victims. I truly did not mean to say the comment I said. The apology referred to Smith's comments while discussing the Facebook message list between Jennifer and James Crumbley in 2021. And so the comment she made was about how going through all this stuff, she's like, and then her phone wouldn't work. She goes, I want to kill myself. No, I get it. We've all, it's comics, whatever. We've all said things we're not supposed to say, whatever. But she didn't mean it in the, I get it with the sensitivity of what's going on, but at the same time, it is something in the vernacular. You can kind of let it go. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank goodness I don't have a gun right now, or I would just end it all. For Christ's sakes, somebody shoot me, please.
Now, where's the other one? That one's good, but then the second one, where is it? This one is great because it's, where's her name? Shannon Smith. Taylor Swift quote. This one she said during her case, and she didn't have to apologize for this one. But she did have to say, she said, they're talking about like fixing things and stuff like that. And she goes, to quote Taylor Swift, Band-Aids can't stop bullet holes.
Oh, shit.
While in a court case. So I'm going to ask you this right now, Bobby. Who's the piece of shit of this story? Is it this lawyer? And listen, she's obviously not somebody who's on the up and up. She's defending that. She's in it for the money and the fucking prestige. She's defending Larry Nassar. If Jeffrey Epstein didn't exist, one of the worst, he'd be the worst guy in the last 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, there's some other ones too, but like literally, his name gets brushed over because of an Epstein. You know what I mean? That's all that is. Like, he was probably the doctor for Epstein's Island. You know, like that's how bad of a man this was.
Now, we know for a fact Hitler didn't molest any kids.
I don't know if we know that as a fact, but it hasn't been put out there.
So, on a scale, where do we
scale
rank?
from Mo to Lest?
Folks, that's been the POS show. You're not going to hear a better joke than that tonight.
No, we did already. It was Bull-sheedu.
Turns out that was Bull-sheedu.
Bull-sheedu.
But, like, you know what I mean? So, like, how many Nassar victims to
Did it take to screw in a light bulb?
A lot. They're
limber.
short. Well, and
Yeah,
they're
but they're
short.
limber, like 20.
Yeah, so it's going to take 3 on top of each other. Hopefully none of them sprain an ankle because they won't be able to get treated now. But, like, how many of his victims before he surpassed Hitler?
He would need 6 million.
But if they're all kids?
He didn't kill him, though.
Okay, that's why
It's
I was
awful
curious.
what he did, but he didn't kill him. So maybe $3 million.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's okay. All right.
Half, maybe.
And then if
But
it
anyway,
was- all right, yeah. We should probably.
Is
get back to
she
the
the is she the piece of shit for fucking up, saying something messed up, whatever? Is it the social media for getting, oh my god, she said kill herself? You know how many things are said in social media? Like, I get it, it was the wrong time, wrong place, but it's not a sensitivity show. They're talking about children being killed daily, all day, every day. No matter what, if you're in that thing, you're gonna become desensitized, and you're gonna say things. You know, cops deal with crazy shit, but also say crazy shit. Like, it's just gonna happen. She didn't say it in any malice or whatever. She said it and fucked up and said an apology. Is the judge for even like allowing? The second she started, I'd be like, hey, you're a lawyer, we're a thing, don't even bother. Or is it the other guy who was, the other lawyer, because he right away, or she right away was just like, oh my god, like it was just, they're playing it up, hamming it. It's like, it wasn't like the woman said it. Yeah, Band-Aids for bullet holes, not the smartest quote to say, but if you want to talk about on the nose, the only time it's relevant, you know what I mean? Band-Aids wouldn't have worked that day.
Well, yeah, probably not the best for her client either. Now that you put it in that perspective.
Well, because the client's the one who killed it. It's just saying, like, should the client have enough knowledge and was that involved
I
in
know,
that much
yeah.
to buy the guns and all that? Dad really bought the guns, but the mom also knew about it but said she didn't. I hope they don't all go to jail. What's that doing for the rest of the family? I don't know what the president that sets, but who's the piece of shit? Anyway, fuck the law, kid. Who's the piece of shit in the story?
So, it's not the lawyer, right? Because, like, you don't get mad at a piece of shit for being a piece of shit. You know? That's
People already don't like lawyers, and she's the lawyer that you're not supposed to like anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So she's going to do things like that, and she made blunders, whether it was intentional or not.
I like calling it blunders.
Yeah.
lawyers, bloopers, and practical jokes.
But if you, like, for instance, if you have a woman and you shit on her head, she's probably going to sue you later. Okay? Sometimes things happen as expected.
Yeah, you would think in that moment he's like, this might come back to bite me.
Yeah,
This
you
is
know what I
just
mean? Like,
mid grump.
so you can't be mad at the snake for biting you.
Well, we've had like 4 times we should have said that's been the POS show. That was one of them too. We've get it ready, Vince. We've come full circle.
I think for me, the piece of shit's the judge. The way you beat this is you don't feed the troll and you go, yeah, everybody makes mistakes, and you just move on and you don't make a big deal out of it, and she'll stop getting the attention she wants from each pop. Or lock her ass up. There's no in between. Like, you have to apologize to the people. It was inappropriate to quote the most sold and listened to pop star of the last decade. Right?
Right.
So for me, it's the judge. Obviously, the mother's a piece of shit. She helped her son shoot up a school. The son's the piece of shit for shooting up the school. Those other kids are pieces of shit for bullying the kid to the point where he had to shoot up. Like, there's a lot of pieces of shit. For me, in this instant, though, it's the judge.
Why is the judge?
Because she keeps, like, reprimanding this lady and making it a bigger deal, which gets her the attention she's seeking. If you just ignored it and you were like, oh, yeah, everybody makes mistakes, and you moved on real quick, it wouldn't have been a thing. Also, where I come from, I live by the rules of judge not, lest you be shit on the head.
Oh, no. I think it's Taylor Swift. You know what? She's become too quotable. She's already going to be the biggest thing at the Super Bowl. She's already going to outdo the people at the halftime show. She doesn't need to be involved in court cases too. Does this lady she have to be everywhere? When they look back in history, she's like Forrest Gump. She's somehow involved in everything. It's. I think Taylor's great. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say I'm a Swiftie, but I'm close. I'm a fan. But when she's got to the point where, think about it, that means that this woman who defends one of the worst molesters of all times and a school shooter's mom in her spare time sings to Taylor Swift. like that's like if you found out like Charles Manson really liked Frank Sinatra. You know what I mean? It's just fucking weird.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point.
That's all I do is make good points.
But all I could say, Pat, is someday Taylor's going to be living in a big old city. And all you're ever going to be is mean if you keep blaming her.
That's not even one of her better quotes. I mean, you did well, but I'll shake it off.
Ooh. Do you think the mother one was like, ooh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
All right. You had something you wanted to share before we got the fuck out of here?
One of the victims was like, I knew he was trouble when he walked in.
When he pooped on my head.
I wear short skirts. He has a 45.
Look at me. I'm taking a swift shit.
Take a swift shit on your head.
Don't you have something?
I do. So Friday I did a show.
Congratulations. Where was it?
I was at the Parks Casino in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania.
Stop bragging.
I promise you I'm not. We have, on occasion, commented on the rough nature of comics and how it can be rough sometimes, but it's always fun. This made me appreciate comics like it was Madison Square Garden. Because, Pat, the room was called the Side Pocket. So I assumed it was like a pool hall that they cleared out and put seats in, right? Or, you know, something like that. It was a side pocket of the casino.
Oh, what does that mean?
3/4 of a wall cut out, but the third section just open to the massive casino.
Jeez.
Wide open, 4 stories high, ceiling. Also, this casino has no card games. It's all fucking slots. So it's the first comedy night they're doing there. I'm first after the local investigative reporter from ABC 27 News.
What?
He's hosting. And again, it's their first night doing it here.
Has he done comedy before?
I hope not.
Oh, he was that bad.
He went up with paper and read off the paper. Read my introduction after talking to me like a normal host would. He got the, came up and was like, hey, these are the credentials, all that stuff. Then he went up and when he was introducing me, did the thing you're never supposed to do, where he said my name first and then went through all the credits. Like he was like, coming to the stage, Roy Tamburo, and then listed off all my credentials.
What I like is when they do that kind of, then they're like, next guy, Bobby Tamburo. Oh, Bobby's done this and this and this.
Yep,
and
that's
this
exactly
and
what I'm saying. He
and
did.
Then he just doesn't say anything and just stares at you like you're supposed to call. Instead of saying, he could do it again. He could do Bobby Tamburo. It's like, but he doesn't do that.
Yes, Terry, you fucking nailed it. It is the Warehouse Casino. It's terrible. So he has his ABC rhythm voice. He brings me to the stage. She's doing it in reporter speak. Like, coming to the stage now is Bobby Tamburo. He's the pride of Lower Dolphin High School. Did not tell him that. He grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Did not, all these facts I did not tell this dude, Pat. He did research and then pretended he didn't and then didn't give the answers I requested. It was nuts. So I get on stage, do my set. I can't hear it all. I'm not sure how I did. I see smiles occasionally. I hop off. Earl comes over. He's like, hey, you did well. Could you hear that you did well? And I was like, no, I couldn't hear a fucking thing.
That's the best. You can't, yeah.
While that's occurring, ABC 27's back on stage with a handwritten list of notes now, and he's doing, well, I told you it was our first comedy night, and based off Bobby's set, here's a list of topics we won't allow at the next one. And he's going through my list of jokes.
Oh, he thinks it's funny? Oh, God.
But,
I hate that shit.
I'm okay with him trying to be funny, right?
Yeah, but he's just disrespecting you, and he's not a comic. I don't like that.
His timing is so off, though, that the audience can't tell. So now Lennon's there, and Lennon was just coming to hang. And I was like, hey, Lennon, I know you just came to hang, but you want to help me beat up this 60-year-old man? Jump him in the parking lot? And then we were doing this just in. 2 glorified open micers beat me up in the parking lot of the Shippensburg Parks Casino. One investigative journalist will be seeking a way to find an untraceable gun. For more information, check in at 10.
While he was being beaten, he let the 2 assailants know what names they couldn't call him during the beating.
Yeah. Apparently, just trying to enjoy some clean humor on a Friday night is too much to ask for in Shippensburg with these 2 jackasses on the loose. We'll see how tough they are.
Yeah, I couldn't see them, but I'll say the things they were not. They weren't the following: wops, dagos, N-words, chinks.
One of them looked like a goddamn hippie. We'll see how tough those two are once I get a 45.
Not a Colt 45. That's not for my type.
And not the type of that beat me either, if you catch my drift.
You won't catch them because they're quick.
Yeah, that was the highlight of my evening.
Oh, but how did... So at the end, did he say something to you? Like, hey, sorry, or...
Yeah, the reporter? I left before that happened.
Of course, no one else matters.
No, Earl's the only one I gave a shit about. I left before he could say hi. And yes, Terry, I'm familiar with the Laughing Stock Comedy Club. I headlined there last December. I should be back next December. Come check it out, man. It'll be a lot of fun. I brought Sabrina with me. She was great. Lennon got on that show, and the features. Ron Kane is a local guy. He's always fun.
You saw Ray DeVito there? Like, was he performing, or you just saw Ray DeVito? Was he just there in the lobby, like, using their Wi-Fi?
Nah, he was panhandling out front.
Nice.
You got to get back to New York. I'm halfway from Ohio.
I'm 90. Whatever the fuck he is, I don't know.
Some guy said if he shit on my head, he'd take me to New York, but he dropped me off here.
Well, so I thought you were going to ask who the piece of shit that story was. But
Oh, no, that was just so we could riff on the Journal guy. I thought it was fun.
Oh,
just
okay,
being
but
like,
I think
This just in, two glorified open micers think they're tough guys. We'll find out how tough they are once I call in my hoodlums.
But it's only once in a while that we actually get a story where the piece of shit actually is the piece of shit. There was no other else. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was pretty happy. I could say it's you. It definitely wasn't you. You did your act. This guy goes up there and he acts like he's not at a comedy show. And also, that bit that he's doing there, I've seen a lot of people do that. They don't see it that way. They think it's like sarcasm, but it's not. It's them coming off like they think they're better than someone else. And that's the last thing you want to do as a host. Even if that's your bit and your thing, you just said, oh, the person I brought up sucks and is an awful person. So now I'm like, if I'm in the audience, I go, yeah, but you're hosting. We don't know how this works, right? You're the news guy. We know you. We trust you on the news. So we're thinking, you know this guy. How many times have you done a comedy show where people say to you, do you four travel around together? Because people think we're like gypsies and shit. We all work together. So he would think, oh, he must know Bobby. So all the rest of these guys must be terrible because he's telling. So why would he bring us terrible people?
And exactly. And that's the way it came off. And I didn't care. And I don't think he was trying to be a dickhead, like you said.
He's just trying to be funny, and he doesn't know how to be funny, so he went for shock.
Yeah, and I don't... That doesn't bother me. I appreciate somebody trying to make people laugh. To be honest, the piece of shit is the guy who booked that room and booked that guy to open and didn't close it off. So...
Yeah, fuck that. But, I guess the real question is, who books it? Hey, no, I'm kidding. No, thank you. I'll work with that guy. Why not?
Yeah, I would work with him, too. I think I'm back there.
So,
Terry, come out.
What do you got?
I'll tell you.
Speaking of performing, what do you got coming up next, Bobby?
Tomorrow night, Toronto, Canada. You can see me at the Comedy Bar, 9:30 p.m.
Nice. If you're out in Canada, where in Canada?
Toronto.
Toronto. That's
Yeah.
closer to New York, right? That's the one that's closer to us. I've never been to Canada.
I try to avoid it as much as possible, Patrick, but sometimes...
Oh, I heard it's nice.
No, that's a lie. That's propaganda.
Propaganda.
Propaganda? If I don't get arrested for violating free speech or beating up some fuzzy muzzies, you can see me February 9th at Phantom Power in Millersville, Pennsylvania with the Earl David Reed, and 24th at the Eichelberg Theater, also in Pennsylvania.
Nice. This Thursday, I will be at Comics Mohegan Sun. Hey, everyone that came out on Sunday, thank you for coming out. It was a fun show. We had a nice crowd, even though there was a football game and everything. Sorry to the people in the audience that halfway through, because I could tell you were staring at your phone when the Lions were playing the Niners. So I said out loud, isn't that pretty cool? The Lions are going to the Super Bowl. And a couple people yelled out, what are you talking about? And I go, I don't know. I haven't seen the game. I guess you're not fucking paying attention to me. And everybody laughed. Like, I knew they were paying attention. It was like a big laugh and everybody joked, whatever. But thank you everybody that came out to that. And everybody came out to the Fairfield Comedy Circle in Fairfield. That was a fun show as well. Thursday, I'm back at Comics, 10 o'clock show with Frank Margallo. Friday, I'm at Twisted Vine in Derby. And then the following week, just got the text now, I'm doing a show 5 minutes from my house, but the guy who booked it lives nowhere near my house. The steamroller, Rich Carucci, just hit me up and said, hey, I'm booking a show in Seymour, Connecticut, which is 5 minutes. I'm like, why? You live in New Jersey, whatever. But I'll be doing a show there at Jimmy's place next Saturday.
This just in, one journalist thinks some cocaine just moved into Seaport, Connecticut.
Breaking news. There is a there's all these scales being sent in a truck to the back of a diner in Seymour, Connecticut. Stripper bodies found dead behind the Strand Theater in Seymour, Connecticut. By the way, the Strand Theater is a cool small little theater that I opened up for Gilbert Gottfried there a couple times. Jimmy's place is a tiny little bar 3 buildings away from this. So it's so close, but yet so far away. But it'll be cool to do that. To check out a bunch of my other gigs, just find me on social media, check that out. Please like and subscribe this here. For the couple that watch, thank you. For Scott, who'll be watching later on. Terry, sorry you jumped in late, but we appreciate you when you jump in. Stormy, as always, you're awesome. Thank you. Everyone else is watching. We'll be on again next week. Bobby and I are talking about having an idea. There hasn't been a lot. I know some of the shows that you guys watch do some morning things, but we can do our thing in the morning too, and that can be fun. We're thinking to play with that idea. Let us know if you think that'd be a good thing to have a live morning thing we do here as well. So, and if not, we're probably still going to do it. But it'd be nice to hear if you want to do it anyway. But thank you guys for watching. Don't poop on anybody's head. And Bobby,
if you can't join them, beat them. And then beat them up in Canada. Beat that pussy up as you're shitting on her head.
and
Don't be.